What is going on, everybody? Rudy G. Betts here alongside my good buddy Andy Lang at Bump Sports, joining me today to talk over UFC 319 going down this Saturday. Andy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Good. Should be an amazing UFC 319. So yeah, ready to get into it.
Yeah, before we get going here, I just want to give you a shout out here. Just literally got this in the mail today from Andy Lang himself, A1C Skincare Hydrating Restoration Balm. So, Andy, if you want to give the people, tell a little bit about your new business venture, you could do that before we
Sure.
get going here.
Sure. It's very simple. For the last couple of years, I've been working on designing and developing a skincare product for people with diabetes. I got diagnosed a few years ago. Turns out it runs rampant in my mom's family. The only symptom I had was very dry hands and feet. I didn't like a lot of the products I tried. Worked with a company and we designed our own, and I could not be more proud of it. We're going to bring it to market. This has been kind of an obsession of mine the last couple of years. So we're going to launch within a month, but sending samples out, and I can't wait to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I'll post a review on Twitter once I give it a shot. Like I said, um, just got it in the mail, like literally maybe an hour before the show. I got it, so didn't get to use it yet, but I definitely will, and I'll post a little review on Twitter for everyone. And if you're not, go follow Andy at bump sports on X here. And so with that, yeah, we can get the ball rolling. For those of you guys that don't know, but I'm sure most of you will, just a little recap here for 319. Bobby Green, Diego Ferreira is no longer on the card. Bobby Green pulled out with some sort of leg injury. I saw a video that he posted on social media. Has crutches, so I guess he will not be competing. The Ultimate Fighter welterweight finale between Rodrigo Senzinato and Daniil Donchenko, that was canceled. I believe it was some kind of injury with Senzinato, and that has been confirmed to move to Noche UFC in September, the Diego Lopez and Gene Silva card. Two fights that we did get, or will be getting, I should say, the flyweight finale for the Ultimate Fighter. Alibi Adiris versus Joseph Morales. Lines just came out today, a couple hours ago. Alibi minus 425, Morales plus 325. And middleweight late edition, Sanger, Suskarayev versus Eric Nolan. Suskarayev, it says minus 800, but it's gone all the way up to like minus 1200 in some spots from when I made this. Andy, do you have anything to add in terms of do you see yourself betting either of these fights or any kind of rundown? I mean, I did watch The Ultimate Fighter, and I was thinking to myself, like, what are the lines going to be for these? And I figured Alibi probably like minus 300. So maybe, but I'm not really interested at the dog. And then the other one, yeah, I mean, especially after his Contender Series first round, like kick to the stomach knockout, and then with all the Chimaev stuff, I mean, you aren't going to get this guy at a discount. So I figured, about minus 1,000 without, I mean, I know nothing about this Nolan guy. I'll be, other than what I've researched, I have no interest in this fight. We're not going to learn anything. At least I don't think so. So I don't know if you have anything to add here.
I mean, Nolan does have some knockouts, but regional scenes, CFFC and such. Yeah, and Susarkayev they were high on. I mean, obviously he has the huge. I didn't know he trained with Chimaev, and as they were walking out, the announcers were like, "Yeah, full training camp with Chimaev," and I could not bet enough right in the moment on him by knockout.
What was his line for on Tuesday? There's no way he was like minus 1,000, right?
No, he was like minus. He was less than minus 400, but then once you heard Chimaev, and I know the other guy, Talha, who's terrible, I was like, you just take Susarayev by finish. Only bet I'll make is something with the Susarkayev and Nolan under, because those guys are going to come out and try and put on a show.
I don't believe we have odds on a total, but I'm sure it'll be 1.5 and like minus 300 to the under. So
yeah.
There's like I said, there's nothing that I'll be playing in these fights. It'll be more so to just see what these guys really are, how they handle
Yeah.
the pressure of their first real UFC fight. So we'll see what happens. But interesting to note. Wanted to put that out there for some people that may not know all the moving and shaking with the card this week. So on we go. So the first fight of the night, we have a rematch here from 2019, 6 years ago. We have Karine Silva, minus 235. The comeback on the underdog Dion Barbosa, plus 180. And in 2019, when these two ladies fought, Barbosa actually won that fight by decision. So, Andy, I'll start out with you. First fight of the night. Anything on this fight that you're liking?
Yeah, the first thing is I think we got to be really careful about looking back on fights. To me, one of the funniest ones was, well, Gagey beat Holloway twice. I was like, you serious? Like, what, I just,
You mean
I don't
Poirier?
care. Or Poirier, I'm sorry, Poirier.
Yeah.
Well, Poirier beat Holloway twice. It was like, yeah, 13 years ago, and then I don't care about the 2019 fight. The fact is, Silva is just more dangerous. Who's more likely to get the finish? It's Silva. She's got really good submissions. She's just coming off a loss to Araujo, which I thought Araujo was going to give her real problems. It turned out she did, and I love these talented fighters that come off of a loss. You saw it with Lucindo. You see it time and time again. These good fighters that come off a loss, they get a little bit of step down in competition, and not just. I think Silva, since that last fight, has gotten a lot better. Barbosa, okay, arm triangle choke to Belbita, but my biggest problem was in the Miranda Maverick fight. When she got taken down, she stayed there. She could not get up. And so she's fought Belbita, who easy submission there. Karakate, who is a kickboxer. And now you're back to, contender series. I think if Silva wants us to get on the mat, she can get it there. And when she's there, it's just going to stay there. So I have Silva. I don't know if I have an opinion on the total, but just who's going to win straight up, it's going to be Silva. I know she's juiced, but that's the winner in my opinion.
Yeah, similar thoughts here. I think there's a lot of similarities between these two ladies. I think they have similar skill sets and abilities, but to your point, I agree. Like Silva's just much more dangerous. She's much more physical. If anyone's getting a finish, it's going to be Silva. And as far as the price goes, like I somewhat get it. I mean, it might be a little bit blown out on the Silva side, but both girls have shown like some cardio problems down the stretch. Um, it's just not a fight that I really want to do business with. I thought that maybe I was going to look at the dog, but after tape, I was just less and less enamored with it and, kind of understand why Silva is priced around where she is. Makes sense, but more often than not, I feel like it's probably a 29-28 type thing, and you're like, I probably shouldn't have bet Silva here. And it's like, do you really want to bet Barbosa? I mean, maybe, who knows? But more often than not, I feel like it plays out close, and I just don't think it's the greatest fight in the world. I mean, low level women's MMA, it's been said before, but it is super volatile. And Silva, with her own cardio concerns, I'm not really interested in laying chalk here. But
it's not that low level. It's not that low level. Come on, give him a little credit. 18-5 and 8-3. There's a lot worse.
I mean, to that point, I will say, like in 2019 when they fought, Barbosa only has 11 fights total in her MMA career. Karine Silva has 10 since that fight alone. So I feel like if anyone's improving, it's probably Silva. So I don't know. Yeah, it's just not a fight that I'm really willing to bet on. The only thing I will say that somewhat had interest to me was Silva inside the distance. I think it was like plus 300 or something. It was somewhat interesting to me. So we'll see if I get there or not. But other than that, yeah, there's not a whole hell of a lot for me on this one here to kick us off. So the next fight, we have Brian Battle coming back up in weight from 170. taking on Nursultan Ruzaboev. Brian Battle, the minus 174 favorite. Ruzaboev coming back plus 136. Like I said, and as you guys could see on the screen there, Battle is coming back up to 185 after having some weight issues from time to time at 170. I really thought I was going to like Brian Battle here. And after further recollection and tape, I can't do it. I think he's going to have a hard time, especially early on, getting inside on Ruzabov. And he's not like a tremendously fast starter either. And I don't really rate his wrestling. He only has like a 15% takedown accuracy. I mean, the later the fight goes, I think he could potentially take over. But I think at best, he's probably playing on thin margins here. Whereas Ruzabov, like, he is kind of low volume. His cardio isn't very good, but he does hit really hard and he's long and awkward. And we've seen guys kind of struggle with him in particular for at least stretches or, until he knocks them out really. But yeah, I really thought I was going to like Battle with kind of his style and the pace and the cardio, which I do think if we see later rounds that could potentially win him. But I don't really see I think he's gonna have a hard time getting Ruzabov down, especially like the first half of the fight if we get out of that. I don't really know what to make going back up after having trouble making 170. Ruzabov is just a big physical guy. Yeah, I mean I see pass for both guys. To me, it's Ruzabov or pass, but as of now, I'm kind of probably sitting this one out. How about you?
I have these fighters that for whatever reason I have just correctly predicted them. Kyle Barallo, I've been all over. Carlos Olberg, Lucindo, and Brian Battle's the other one. I have not missed a prediction well, the Lusa fight, if you want to call that one, the no contest. But yeah, I predicted all of his fights right, including his loss against Fakhretdinov. And I think it says a lot that I'm not betting on him on this fight. At the same time, I'm not betting on Ruzaboyev. So if you're betting it, I think you could take Battle by decision at plus 225 and Ruzaboyev by KO at plus 450. Brian Battle has a big problem with striking defense. He eats a lot of shots. He has gotten away with it because he's fought guys that have not punished him for it. Guys like AJ Fletcher and Kevin Jousset and Trayshawn Gore and Gabe Green could have taken advantage of it. Gabe Green can hit hard, but he decided to run in like an idiot and got knocked out in 14 seconds. And a lot of people think Randy Brown won that last fight. And what does Randy Brown and Ruzaboyev have in common? Well, they're both long and they can get through his guard. I don't trust Ruzaboyev the longer the fight goes, as you said. So I'm not betting this, but I really think if Ruzaboyev wins, it's going to be by KO. I don't think he wins multiple rounds. But if Brian Battle can survive, if he can block the punches instead of eating them, yeah, he's going to win some clinch battles. He's going to win some striking battles, and he should win the decision. But it's a pass for me. But if you're betting Ruzaboyev, just bet the KO. You're giving yourself $2 extra on it. So that's how.
Yeah, we're in agreement from a money line and kind of a betting perspective here on this one. The only thing I will say is can't you see Ruzabov also winning a moments-based decision though if Battle's not getting him down and Ruzabov is just landing the bigger shots? I know his cardio isn't great, but I could see it. I don't think Battle is going to finish him or really have an easy time. I mean, to me, honestly, Ruzabov is probably going to have to be pretty tired for Battle to take him down and keep him there, in my opinion.
I think he will be tired. I think he does get that tired with some of those. Ruzaboyev has been low volume. He's not, landed and thrown a lot of, significant strikes. And listen, he didn't exactly dominate Dustin Stoltzfus in his last fight. That was a little bit concerning there. So I can't get there on either of these fighters. I don't trust either of them. Nothing would surprise me. So this will be a kick back and relax and watch this one.
Yeah, I'm largely in agreement. For me, it would be, Ruzabov or leave it alone. I'm not really interested in Battle at this type of price. So the next fight, kind of another one where the card's starting off sketchy, but we have Edson Barboza coming back up to lightweight here at the ripe age of 39, Andy, taking on Drakkar Klose at the prime age of 36. They have it minus 146 for Edson Barboza, plus 114 for Drakkar Klose. I'll start this one out. I really thought I was going to find myself on a Barboza bet here. And after watching his last couple fights, I just can't do it, man. He looks fucking decrepit lately. And like, if you start doing it by like, okay, the better striker, who's faster, who's going to be the one if there's any finish, like, could Klose really take him down? Honestly, probably not. But there's just been enough like red flags against guys who are at 145, and I don't really think Yusuf or Lerone Murphy are very physical or all that dangerous, really. And Barbosa like kind of almost died in both of those fights. It's just enough to make me pause and say, you know, there's kind of better spots on the board here. Close, I mean, kind of a doer of nothing. He's going to want to clinch up Barboza, wear on him, dirty box inside. To me, this just seems like a split or like 29-28 written all over it. And if I bet Edson Barboza at, you know, almost 40 years old after the red flags were clearly there for everyone to see. And, you know, he just looks awful. Like, that's the downside here, is that he's just done now. And I don't know, like, he fought at 155 most of his career, so I'm not really sure what that's about, if it's just getting a fight, because this is kind of a random booking other than just like they're both old. But I don't know. This fight just reeks like some tomfoolery is going to go on, and we're going to get a split or like very thin margins. Like, Klose is hugging him against the fence, and you got whoever the ref is. Let's work, guys. Let's work. And Barboza's not really doing much, and he's kind of kicking at him from the outside, but nothing's really impactful as landing. And the next thing you know, 15 minutes go by, and you're like, I don't know who won. Do you? No, I don't either. So that's just
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm a lot more bullish on this fight. I have Barboza all day. Drakkar Klose got whiplash when he got pushed at a face-off against Jeremy Stevens, and I'm not making light of it because it's a neck and it's a really weird injury. It was just strange. He comes back, and he looks horrible in the first round against Brendan Jenkins, and then he knocks him out because it's Brendan Jenkins. Beats Rafa Garcia. Again, did not look good, but gets the unanimous decision. Has a very strange win against Joe Selecki where he picks him up and slams him, beats Joaquim Silva. And he makes the mistake of, when they ask him after a fight, who do you want next? And he says, I want to keep fighting bad guys so I can get easy paychecks.
Sounds like Kevin Holland.
Congratulations. Here's Joel Alvarez, who destroys him.
Yeah, murdered him.
Let's say Dana White doesn't want to hear you say, let's just say Dana doesn't want to hear you say, let me keep fighting bad guys so I can take your money. Drakkar Klose, he gets put on his back foot. He is scared to take damage and scared to get hit at this point. We saw it with Joel Alvarez. It wasn't just that Joel Alvarez beat him up. Klose wanted nothing to do with that fight. He was. I mean, to be fair,
Joel Alvarez is like an absolute menace at 155 pounds. Like,
I know
I'm not knocking Klose. Like, to me, he was drawing thin no matter what. Like, that was an unwinnable fight for him. So
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, when he had to step up in competition, he looked like a fish out of water, and he didn't want anything to do with it. Barboza, if he gets going early, is going to waltz to a victory. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to, get on him for losing to Lerone Murphy, who we'll talk about a little later. Barboza had success early in there. Yes, is he the same guy that he was when he was in his prime? Of course not. But Edson Barboza is not scared. He's not going to be intimidated by anything Drakkar Klose does, and Drakkar Klose is going to have to just use his speed and basically be on the front foot the entire time, because I feel like once Barboza lands a combination or gets him up against the fence, Klose is going to be timid and scared the rest of it. I love Barboza at this price.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it would be Barboza or pass, but like I said, there's enough for me to be like,
Yeah.
Maybe sit this one out. So next fight, we got Chase Hooper minus 350. The comeback on Alexander Hernandez plus 255. Andy, I'll let you start this one out, buddy. What are you thinking here? Is this line a little wide? You like the favorite? What do you think?
I think it's Chase Hooper and Chase Hooper by finish. I've just watched Alexander Hernandez fail to impress many times. He makes big time mistakes. He wears damage horrible. That's the other thing. Like, he gets touched up and he is immediately bloodied up and bruised. Striking defense is not good. Cardio is not good. I'm just struggling to see, like, where's the advantage? Like, you know, when Hooper was fighting down a weight division, yeah, you could say, oh, yeah, Hernandez, much better striking advantage. Not anymore, man. Hooper throws a lot of volume. He's not scared to throw a lot. He's going to be longer. And if this gets to the ground, which I'm assuming Chase Hooper wants it to be, and I assume he will be, it's Chase Hooper all day. He can ground and pound. He's shown that. He can submit. He's shown that time and time again. I'm just struggling to find an Alexander Hernandez path to victory. This guy can't decide on a camp. Like what's his style? Like that's the other thing. When I picture a Chase Hooper fight, I picture what Chase Hooper looks like and is going to do. I don't know what Alexander Hernandez is great at, or what's his go-to move. I don't see what he excels at. And I'm sorry, he didn't look good against Kurt Holobaugh, and he didn't look good against Austin Hubbard. He won against two aging guys that, you know, are on the way out. And before that, loses to Damon Jackson and Bill Algeo. I just can't see the path to victory for Alex Hernandez. And again, yeah, it used to be, well, yeah, you could knock Hooper out, but he's grown into his body. The move up to this division has been really good for him. Not only do I think it's Hooper, I think it's Hooper by finish.
All right, well, here's where we're finally going to disagree.
There we go.
I think Hernandez is value at plus 255. Like, if you look at who Chase Hooper has been fighting lately, it's all old guys like Jim Miller, Clay Guida, Slava Borshev, who is like the worst defensive grappler in UFC history. And then when he did fight a guy with any pop in his hands, Steve Garcia beat the living crap out of him and knocked him down 4 times, and he finally knocked him out. Like, listen, I think everyone has their problems with Alexander Hernandez, like, is liable to fall apart, gets in his own head, you know, could quit on himself if the going gets rough down the stretch. But I feel like at minus 350, like, you're implying it's like that Chase Hooper is just going to freaking bulldozer him, like, right from the get-go. And I just don't really, like, see that happening, like, especially not in the early. Like, I think Hernandez is dangerous is on the feet. I think Hooper can be hit. He still like marches forward and is not defensively responsible. He still backs up in a straight line, like defending strikes. Like, yeah, I could see Hooper taking over late, but I think in the first half of the fight, like, Hernandez is going to be there, give him a good, honest fight. I don't know. I struggle to see, like, Hooper at this price. Like, if you were telling me Hooper was, I don't know, minus 200, minus 220, somewhere in that vicinity, I'd be like, okay, yeah, you know, probably pass, but I could get it. But now it's just like, I don't know, man. It just seems like this is a big price to swallow for playing Chase Hooper, in my opinion, who at the end of the day, we haven't really seen him beat anyone that great yet. Like, I know I will give him a lot of credit. He's looked a lot better at 155, like, physically. Like, he's definitely grown into his body. He doesn't look like, you know, 12 years old anymore. So that's good. He has gotten better, like, on the ground in terms of, like, his ground and pound and kind of like doing good work when he's on the ground. But yeah, I just think Hernandez could potentially give him some problems here. Like, I don't think this is just a slam dunk layup like the line is implying for Hooper here, because, you know, you definitely worry about Hernandez if things start to go south in the back half of the fight. But I think if Hernandez, like, I don't think Chase Hooper's wrestling is all that good either. So I just think it's probably going to be a close fight if we don't see a finish. Like, put it this way, there's no chance in hell, like, I would really want to be laying or holding a Chase Hooper minus 350 ticket if we see 15 minutes and, it's going like Hernandez kind of early, and then maybe Hooper has a good third round and wins the third round with some control and maybe some top position. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a lot closer than not. So we'll see what happens. So the next fight, we have Lupi Godinez -160, Jessica Andrade coming back down to 115 at the dog price of +124. I like Andrade here in this fight. I think this is actually a pretty good fight for her. Like, if you look at some of the girls that she was losing to and getting like grappled by, these are bigger girls. These are girls with much better grappling than Lupi Godinez. I think on the feet, like Andrade has a lot of upside. Like she hits way harder. And we've seen like Lupi get herself in trouble with girls who aren't even very good strikers in the past. Like if Andrade isn't conceding like takedowns here, which I don't think it's going to be easy. Like I said, these were girls up at 125 that were actually, that I think we all rate pretty highly as grapplers, and girls that can control her on the mat and finish her there, like Blanchfield, Suarez before, she hasn't looked the best lately, and some other girls. But I don't rate Lupi's wrestling at that level, and especially not her control. So I think like Andrade, if she keeps this standing, and I think largely she will, I think she's going to land the bigger, more impactful shots and probably win a decision here. So I think Andrade is a good underdog play. What do you think?
I agree. There's not too many people who I've met that believe in Andrade. And I get it. She's lost pretty emphatically, but boy, you lose to Natalia Silva and Jasmine Jasudavicius, who was basically the worst nightmare matchup.
That was the third person I couldn't think about.
Yeah. So can't really fault her for that. 2023, she goes on the divorce tour where she's open. She's going through a divorce. She takes every single fight she possibly can, and they didn't give her any layups. She's fighting Blanchfield, Jan,
all grapplers too. Like
I know.
Take her down and just keep her there.
Yeah, so she fights, Marina Rodriguez and Natalia Silva in 2024. Gets the win against Marina. But my biggest problem is Lupi was a wrestler. Her family is decorated wrestlers, and she's decided she's a striker now. And I don't see her use that ground game enough, and it gets her into trouble. The very, very close win against Tabitha Ricci. But the fact is, if she loses that, now that's 3 losses in a row. And they give her Pilastri, who's I think Pilastri is pretty bad. Because she is bad.
Oh, no, I'm not laughing because I disagree. It's just funny.
Yeah. So, now could Andrade just be completely done and, give up in this one? Yeah, of course, it's in the cards. But if Lupi doesn't mind her P's and Q's and Andrade starts to get a little bit of confidence, she can squeak this one out. And Lupi there's rounds where she's winning really emphatically, and then all of a sudden they're close because she makes some mistakes or doesn't take advantage. Lupi just gets in these close fights that she doesn't need to, and it's a perfect recipe for Andrade to squeak out 2 rounds. So Andrade will be the pick. If you're a split decision better, I think this is your fight for a split decision. You go Andrade by split. I could see a couple really, really close rounds in this one, but I got Andrade just straight up.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna agree with you. That was one of the things I was gonna say is Lupi's fight IQ. I mean, I've bet on her in the past, and even in fights that she's won, I'm just like, that could have been like so much easier. Like, what were you doing? So yeah, there's really no chance I'm taking Lupi here. It's actually I think Andrade is a good bet at plus money here. So I think she's gonna win too. So the next fight, we have a middleweight bout. We have Mikhail Olajaychik coming in at -250. The underdog Gerald Mearshart, GM3 at +190. I think one of the last shows I did with you, or maybe the one before that, something like that, that was the fight where Olajaychik came out that he was no longer training in his garage, like by himself, basically, and he went to the newly famed Fighting Nerds camp, with all those Brazilians, we have one of his teammates, Carlos Prates, on this card, which we'll talk about later. And, you know, we know we're getting with kind of both of these guys, honestly. I mean, Olajaychik, you're going to get that forward pressure, very, very heavy shot, mixes up the targets very well, a very, very quick starter, does get a lot of his wins in the first round by knockout. On the other hand, GM3, 37 years old, grappler by trade. He is not a fast starter, Mr. GM3. It seems like his best days are behind him. His durability is definitely on the decline here. And, if we could rely on Olajaychik to, keep making improvements, now I believe this is his second or even maybe his third fight under Fighting Nerds. He's taking this seriously. I mean, honestly, anything is an improvement of training in your basement or your garage by yourself, really, and just hitting pads and you're like that. So, but yeah, I mean, from a matchup perspective, GM3 does not fight well going back. I mean, if you're a grappler, like that's not what you want to begin with. But Mikal only knows how to go forward. Um, and we've seen Mearshart susceptible to the body, doesn't have great chin, doesn't have great durability, is pretty much lost on the feet. I think this is Olajaychik round one KO. I mean, I don't even think I could really make a case for Mearshart here, even with the grappling. I mean, I think Olajaychik's like defensive grappling is a little bit underrated at this point. Like I feel like a lot of people say like his takedown defense is terrible and he's like a fish off his back, but I don't know. I just don't see it in this matchup here. To be completely honest with you, I don't know what the price is, but Olajaychik round one KO, like I'd probably much prefer that over the minus 250. You know what I mean? Like you're probably getting at least like maybe plus 250, something like that, if I had to guess. So I just think this is pretty much straightforward. I mean, if he falls apart later, then you don't have to worry about your minus 250 ticket anyway and parlaying and all that bullshit. So yeah, I think Olajaychik pretty much just runs him over. How about you?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cut and dry. Mearshart by decision if he can get him on the ground. Olajaychik, by KO if he can keep it on the feet, and then you see that Olajaychik had a full fight camp with Fighting Nerds, and that's all I needed to see. So pictures on his Instagram posing with Kyle Barallo and Prates and all that, and shout out to Mearshart. He might get to 60 professional fights. He's at
That's
what,
crazy.
56 right now. Now, unfortunately, he's lost 2 in a row, but you got to wonder if he could just get one more win, UFC gets him up to 60 professional fights. So, I don't know. The thing is with Mearshart, he was beating DeRitter and then he just fell asleep in the last round. I mean, think about how different those careers go. If DeRitter loses to Mearshart in his debut, then he loses to Tavares. Yeah, his wrestling's not that good. Striking's never been that good. I agree with you that if Olajaychik wins, it's going to be by KO. I mean, just KO even out, just any time in the fight's only
It's
minus
plus 230,
115.
so you're pretty much flipping the money line from a
Yeah.
minus to a plus. I mean, I kind of like that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, Mearshart's, been around. He's got sneaky ways to survive some of these fights, but yeah, I just can't get to Mearshart in this one. There's to say, yeah, he can get Olajaychik down, he can get the submission. I would think if he is going to get a submission, it's something where there's a clinch and he, I don't know, pulls guillotine or armbar. I don't know. So, but at that point, you're grasping for straws. So, it's Olajaychik by KO. I'm in a complete agreement.
Yeah, I mean, I just think you're grasping at straws at best for Mearshart here. So that's the way I see it. Moving on, we have Kai Asakura in his first fight since his title fight coming over from Ryzen. Minus 350 here. The comeback on UFC veteran Tim Elliott plus 255. I'm just going to be really quick with this one. I think Asakura is going to beat the shit out of him. I think he's going to knock him out.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like Tim Elliott needs so much, in my opinion, to go right, and he's not a great grappler. He's not physical. Um, like that's what he needs to go well. Like obviously, if this stays for prolonged exchanges on the feet, I mean, he's gonna get knocked out. And once his wrestling grappling game doesn't work out for him, I mean, Asakura is huge for 125. Like I even saw at the press conference, like he's a big flyweight. He hits super hard. And just because you saw Pantoja do it, well, that's Pantoja, maybe the best back take the sport has really ever seen. So getting submitted by Pantoja in your first ever UFC fight in a title, um, coming across the world and doing that and fighting maybe the best flyweight ever. I mean, you could debate that however you want, but yeah, I mean, I just don't see it for Tim Elliott here, man. I just think he's running into like the firepower is just, it's just night and day. The physicality, night and day. The finishing, night and day. Yeah, I think Asakura is probably gonna knock him out like in the first round. I think this is just this is the UFC saying, "Hey, we appreciate you coming in to try and hype up a Pantoja fight and sell a flyweight fight on pay-per-view. Here, we'll give you the corpse of Tim Elliott here, who is there ripe for the picking." So I got Asakura by KO here. What do you think?
Yeah, it's tough to make the case for Tim Elliott. Undersized, haven't seen him in a while. What's crazy is, he was supposed to fight Tatsuro Taira before this. And that fight got canceled. Yeah, it's weird because, Tim Elliott, he almost beat Muhammad Makayev, was winning until he wasn't in the third. And, he beat Tajir Ulanbekov, beat Victor Altamirano. He did get the submission on Sumiderji. He's going to fight hard. The saying, he's going to fight for your money, but I agree the size is just going to be too much. He needs to have control time on the ground. He has to. And that's all Asakura has to do, because on the feet, it's a complete mismatch. So I don't know. I could see Tim Elliott winning the first round, maybe, if he can somehow get Asakura down and control him, but he's going to have to exert so much energy. I just don't see it lasting for that long. And maybe he's overmatched from the very beginning. So I tried to make the case for Tim Elliott. The only thing is, hey, he's going to fight hard, but that's about it. I'm not really sure the skill set matches up. It just got to be an all-world performance of Tim Elliott taking Asakura down, holding him, doing damage on the ground, or getting a submission. But I just don't think that's more likely to happen. So, yeah, I'm with you. Boring to agree all the time, but, yeah, Asakura is the pick.
Yeah. You know me.
By the way, Rudy, sneaky under 2.5 is plus 100. Even money to get under 2.5. If Elliott is going to win, it's got to be by some weird finish, or if Asakura nukes him, then it's
I don't hate that either. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Asakura KO is, but I just struggle to see. My problem with that is, and like I agree, but it's just I would probably rather take Asakura KO because like I just don't even really see Elliott having the success on the ground or like with the wrestling and grappling that he even needs to. Like I know Pantoja made it look like relatively easy, but I mean, come on, like we're not even talking about in the same stratosphere of fighter here. So just because Pantoja did it doesn't mean that Tim Elliott's going to do it. In fact, I literally don't think maybe this is a hot take, maybe it's not. I don't think Tim Elliott gets a single takedown in this fight.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I just think this is going to be one-way traffic, and it's up to Tim Elliott to make it to the final bell or just pack it in for the night. So the next fight, we have MVP against Jared Cannonier. MVP, the minus 205 favorite. Jared Cannonier coming back as the plus 158 dog. I do have 170 denoted for MVP's weight just because he has been at 170 pretty much his entire career. I know the last fight was Share a Bullet, but did go up to 185. He said something about like politics. I didn't really understand like what was going on. Like, I don't know if you caught that. I don't really know what that was all about.
He agreed to fight Shara Magomedov overseas. What did you think?
Yeah, he's saying he's having a hard time with like politics at 170. I'm not really sure what that means. But anyway, regardless, that's why I have 170 um, noted there for MVP's weight. So this is at 185 middleweight, just for everyone to be clear on that one. Andy, I went into this when this fight first got announced. I was thinking to myself, geez, I think I'm, depending on the odds, obviously, but I was like, geez, I think I might like Cannonier here. And I started watching some of Cannonier's most recent fights, and I'm just like, fuck, there is no chance I'm betting Cannonier here, am I? And it's just, man, like, I thought like Cannonier was going to push the wrestling more. And like from in my head, I'm thinking, but we just haven't seen enough. He's not a great wrestler to begin with. And like, unless he's getting on the inside with MVP and getting takedowns, clinching him up, or like if he lands a big shot, because I mean, he theoretically does have big power, but I mean, I just think the speed and the movement of MVP and just things come out from all different angles is just going to overwhelm Cannonier. Another thing is, like, I know I'm sorry, MVP isn't known as like a big puncher in terms of the one hitter quitter and stuff, but man, one of the reasons what just totally after watching back some of his recent fights talked me out of Cannonier like at all is he's getting hurt in every fight, even fights that he's winning. He's getting hurt in every fight, like literally every single fight. And credit to him against RoboCop. Like he almost died like 17 times and came back and finished RoboCop. Like that was a shit show. But, MVP has been a problem with his movement and his like sideways karate style you saw Ian Gary. Like, Ian Gary just beat Carlos Prates, who we'll talk about in a little bit. Ian Gary, gave Shavkat the hardest fight of his career, things like that. And Ian Gary was even trying to shoot takedowns. Kevin Holland, say what you want about Kevin Holland and all that stuff. I'm just strictly talking about, his length, his athleticism, his punching power, his striking acumen. And Kevin Holland couldn't even find MVP. So I just think like, especially with the normal size cage here, I just think it's going to be really, really hard for Cannonier to either get takedowns, clinch, or get inside and land a knockout blow here. I just think MVP is going to be picking them apart. And a sneaky play here. My pick is ultimately going to be MVP by decision, but I think MVP by KO might be a sneaky upside play here, because if this fight goes similar to the way that I think it's going to go, Cannonier's going to be getting hit a lot and from a lot of different angles with a lot of speed, probably a lot of shots that he doesn't see coming. And like I said, he's been getting hurt in every single fight. So I could see MVP more so like an accumulation of damage, and Cannonier is just overwhelmed by the volume and the speed and the different angles and the movement, and ultimately he just goes down. So he's like minus 200 or whatever. I think I saw decision was like minus 140. Like I'd much rather have KO at plus 400 than basically pretty similar to the money line. Like I just play the money line. I mean, kind of a long-winded way to go about it from how I thought I was going to like Cannonier when it got booked to just talk myself into a bet on MVP. So yeah, anyway, I bet MVP at minus 175 and the KO at plus 400 is like an upside play here in this fight. I just think Cannonier is going to need something really, really big to happen, or he's going to have to get multiple takedowns, and I just don't see it. What do you think?
My only word with Page is he does not throw a lot of volume these days. 43 shots landed against Shara he got hit 38 times. Against Ian Gary, only 21 shots landed. Even against Holland, 41 shots. His shots come from strange angles, but I wish he threw more of them. But he's older. It's not the exciting, crazy knockout guy. That's just not who he is these days. Is Cannonier the guy to get inside or trap him against the cage? I don't know. Probably not. But Page does leave the door open for guys to have bigger moments if they can get to him, and somebody will get to him. He doesn't move as fast as he used to. But his stance, he just does such a good job with the length. My favorite play in this one is just to use the over or the fight to go the distance as a parlay piece. Cannonier's tough. I mean, if he didn't get knocked out early against Rodriguez, Page, I don't see Page knocking him out. And same thing, Page. It's really hard to get to the chin of him. So I see another low volume fight. I don't see many scary things. So I will be using this fight to go the distance as a parlay piece. That's my favorite play in this one. No real opinion on the money line because it's almost 200 on Page. I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean it's ballooned out a little bit, but even at this price, I still wouldn't be interested at the dog. So just kind of my opinion.
Okay.
So the next fight we have Carlos Prates minus 265. The comeback on the underdog Jeff Neal plus 200. This is a 3-round welterweight bout. Andy, you are the self-proclaimed fighting nerds guy. You have been in their corner. I'll let you have this one to start out. What do you think here? I'm sure you're probably going to go with Prates, but let's see.
Yeah, it's not just that, like, you know, I like the fighting nerds and stuff. I've been betting on Carlos Prates since he came off of a Contender Series. I watched this guy. He won us money on Contender Series. Very nervous in the first round of his UFC debut, and then he has not been nervous ever since. He has settled in very nice. He's at, in my opinion, the best strategic gym around, and I love him coming off of a loss. Here's the thing about the loss against Ian Gary. Those guys were friends, believe it or not. They're like best buds, training partners. So you knew it was going to go the distance, and you knew Ian Gary was going to win because I really think the plan was, Carlos, you got to go 5 rounds. We got to see if you got cardio because we think you're going to be fighting for a title at some point. So just go out there, have a really good sparring matchup, give some shots, eat some shots. Let's see if you can do a 5-round fight. And he passed with flying colors. You know, before that, devastating knockouts to Magny, Lee, Radke, Giles. You know, is Jeff Neal in that category? No. But what have we seen from Jeff Neal that makes us think he's, you know, ready to take on Prates and get the win here? He fights RDA. RDA gets hurt in the first round. I mean, the corpse of RDA. Loses a split to Gary. You know, holds his own against Shavkat, but the fact is he still got finished. And then win against Luque and a split against Pons. That's not aging well at all.
No.
You know, so, you know, loses to Magny and Thompson. And I bring up the losses to Gary, Shavkat, Magny, and Thompson because they all are rangy. They got some length on Jeff Neal. And Jeff Neal's going to be, you know, he's a little bit shorter. And Prates has got that long reach, and I think it's going to be a real problem for Neal. Neal needs these big spurts of energy to kind of get off the fence and land some. And Prates can be very low volume as well. But, man, when he lets his hands go, they come with purpose, and they come right down the middle. And Neal has never been knocked out. Not sure if Prates can knock him out, but boy, if anybody can, I mean, it's gonna be Prates. And you know, they say, well, you know, he never been knocked out, but who's knocking him out? RDA? No. Gary, he's not a knockout guy. Shavkat submitted him. Luque was older. Pons isn't knocking him out. Magny's not a knockout guy. Stephen Thompson's not a knockout guy. And then you go back and he's fighting
him out pre-UFC. That's the one time he got knocked out.
Okay, in UFC. He's fighting guys like Camozzi and Camacho, Nico Price and Mike Perry. So, you know, those guys aren't knocking, you know, guys out at Jeff Neal. So I think he's going to get knocked out at some point. It might be Prates, but I just think Prates ends up getting it done. Every single time I just watch a fighting nerds fighter, they just have an amazing plan. And you can tell what the plan is from the very, very beginning. Look no further than that Gene Silva-Bryce Mitchell fight. It was like, oh, man, Gene Silva's going to try and submit Bryce Mitchell, you know, at his own game, and he did. So I just will always be a believer in fighting nerds. It has not failed me, and I just can't get there on Jeff Neal, who I'm just not sure has the reach to get through to Prates. I think Prates uses that long jab and ends up with the win.
Yeah, like, this is a weird one for me. Like, I'll say I'm going to pick Prates here. I'm having a hard time, like, KO or decision. The problem for me is I do think Jeff Neal can have success, like, early on in the first half of the fight or whatever, because Prates is kind of a slow starter, and I think Jeff Neal has literally no choice but to try and come out hot, because if he falls behind, then I think he's gonna really get himself in harm's way, and playing catch up against Prates is just doesn't sound like a very optimal win condition strategy, so yeah, I mean, I saw to go the distance was like plus 150, and I was like, I've been thinking about it. I don't know if I'll get there because I do worry about later on, like mostly round 3, is if Prates starts putting it on Jeff Neal once he's kind of found his reads and stuff like that, and Neal is a little bit, you know, on the more tired side. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna pick Prates, but if it goes 15 minutes, I wouldn't be surprised if it's relatively close. Like you're like, yeah, Prates won 2-1, but Neal landed some good shots on the inside. Prates kind of picked them apart at range, and nothing crazy happens. But I don't know. I'm not really interested personally in this fight. It's one I've been struggling with. I'll pick Prates, but I'm having a hard time pinning down how he does it. And, I'm not interested at minus 265. So, and I don't know if I could really trust Jeff Neal here for 3 rounds. I do think he could have success early, but I'm not sure if it gets any better after the early going. So, and now we have the co-main event of the evening. We have UFC newcomer Aaron Pico, listed as a minus 180 favorite, taking on the undefeated 16-0-1 Lerone Murphy, plus 145. Got the nice UFC debut patch there, had to include for Aaron Pico. Yeah, I like Aaron Pico in this fight, man. I think Aaron Pico's gonna knock out Lerone Murphy. I really do. He has a great skill set, man. Great wrestling, great cardio, great pressure, huge power. I really think he has all the skills and all the ability in the world. The one thing you worry about Pico is the durability. All 4 of his losses was finished. Yes, some were weird. Like one, his shoulder blew out, and he was trying to tell the ref, like, I'm good, and the ref didn't let him continue. And flying knee, and then his UFC, Bellator debut back in the day or whatever gets clocked and then like choked out. So you worry about that, but at the same time, I'm just not really sure Murphy has like the horsepower to keep up here. Like we've seen Murphy knocked down before hurt. We've seen him wrestled. Like Dan Ige hurt him bad, took him down. Makwan Murakami, who's not even in the UFC anymore, had Murphy in big trouble before he landed the flying knee. And there's been fights even before that he was getting taken down and beaten up. So, I mean, do I think Murphy could win? Yeah, but I think he's probably going to have to fight a pretty close to perfect 15 minutes here. Like he's going to have to stay on the outside, throw some leg kicks, stay long, and defend the takedowns. And we don't know this because obviously he hasn't lost and he hasn't faced too much adversity. But for whatever reason, I have a sneaky suspicion that Lerone Murphy is a quitter. Like deep down, I have a suspicion that Lerone Murphy is not a good nail. And I think Pico, with the horsepower and the physicality, the punching power, the grappling onslaught, I think he can kind of take Murphy to that dark place. Another thing is, this is a short notice fight for Lerone Murphy because Aaron Pico was already in camp. He was supposed to fight Movsar but he pulled out. Lerone Murphy just got in to Chicago from the UK on Monday. And I watched a DDP interview, and he was saying, like, yeah, it's kind of like an hour time change for him at least, like per day. So if you're X amount of hours behind, it'll typically take him that many days to acclimate. And the UK is like 7-8 hours behind Chicago. And if he just got here on Monday, another thing I did notice, now this isn't really going into my cap. You guys could look at it and see for yourselves and decide what you think. at the press conference, I didn't think this about any other fighter. When they were doing the face-offs, to me, Lerone Murphy didn't look that great. Like during the face-offs at the press conference, like I thought he was already starting to show like looking kind of sucked out in the face area, which might be sign of he's cutting a lot of weight fast, or he's having a struggle with the weight cut. Who knows when he started cutting weight? Who knows how much he's trying to get off all at once? Like I said, that's not really going in my cap because you'd have to be banking on that, and I'm really not here. But I think Pico's going to win, and I think he's going to knock him out. So, we've seen these guys come over and have a hard time lately. We just saw Patchy Mix look awful against Mario Batista. Like I literally did nothing for 15 minutes while Mario Batista circled around and picked him apart for 15 minutes. But I just think Aaron Pico is a special fighter, and if the jitters don't get to him, which I'm not really expecting, because this guy's been like a child prodigy his whole life, so I'm not really expecting that to get to him. I think he wins this fight, and I think he could even get a finish here. So, yeah, I like Aaron Pico.
Complete opposite side. I'm all over Murphy on this one. I've been impressed with Murphy. I think he's shown real improvement. I did not like him. Before 2020, I was just like, I'm not really sold on this guy. But eye tests, he's really dedicated himself. He's gotten a lot better. He showed durability. He's gotten wobbled, and he's come back to not only get back up but win those fights. People got on him against Josh Emmons. Well, he's running away, and it was like, well, yeah, he's way faster than the older guy who's got a nuclear missile for a right hand. I wouldn't want to stand there and get knocked out by him either. But it was funny because those were people that bet on Josh Emmett, and I had bet on Lerone Murphy. So I'm going brilliant maneuvering, great footwork. Meanwhile, the people that bet on Emmett are like, he's running from him. Is Lerone Murphy going to finish his career undefeated? No. This is one of the things that we say all the time. So you're looking for your chance to fade
he arguably shouldn't be undefeated the way it is, but.
Well, you could make that case, but what am I supposed to take away from Aaron Pico's last two wins? Henry Corrales and Pedro Carvalho in Bellator. Like, really, really bad levels of competition. And, I know you brought up the shoulder injury from Jeremy Kennedy, but who's this guy facing? James Gonzalez? Adley Edwards? Justin Gonzalez? Aiden Lee? Like, who is this guy fighting? Pico. I keep hearing about how awesome he is and how great he is, and I need to see it before I believe it. I'm stunned I'm getting Murphy at this plus money. I will happily take Murphy, who's easily fought the better level of competition, easily been in there with tougher guys. So I think Murphy's footwork is going to be ready for anything Pico has. And you mentioned the jitters. I don't know, man. I know he's grown up in the sport and been a prodigy. Making your UFC debut in Chicago, where the crowd is going to be insane, I don't know. I could see him making some mistakes. And then I do have to go back to the Bellator guys have not looked good, and it just feels like UFC really doesn't want him to have a great debut. Like if you really wanted these guys to come and look good and you get some stars on your hands, you give them much easier matchups. I mean,
but he was scheduled for Evloev. Like, to be fair,
he was going to get killed in that one.
I disagree. But.
Well, we'll see. But I have Lerone Murphy at plus money happily.
All right, we will see. Do you want to? I think we should do a some sort of like shot bet or something like that for this fight. Going head to head. I'll do Pico's closer to 2 than he is to -150. So I'll do 2 for your 1, I guess.
What a punishment! Rudy has to do 2 shots.
Well, I'm just saying, like.
That's fine. I'll take it even because I think Murphy.
It says he's -180, so it's closer to 2 than it is to -150 or like $1. So, I mean, whatever you want to do. I was just trying to think of something since we like vehemently disagree. Like, I don't think we've really ever been that far apart.
Yeah,
but this one seems
we're
like
very far apart. Yep. Shot for shot. Let's go. I think Murphy should be the favorite.
We will definitely do something. we'll pay up either on a live stream or we'll create a solo clip, something like that. So we'll figure that out. We'll see what happens Saturday night. And now we have the main event of the evening, the most, at least I think for a lot of people. I mean, Dana White even said during the press conference today, he thinks it's the best fight of 2025. I agree with him. I don't know what you think about that, but I think it's the best fight of 2025. We have Khamzat Chimaev, first title fight, 14-0, minus 260. The comeback on the champion, plus 200. Very, very interesting fight. Andy, I'll let you start. What do you think in this one?
I think the general concept of handicapping this fight, which everyone comes down to, is probably correct. It's Chimaev early, and if it doesn't happen, then it's Duplessis late. Chimaev, I don't buy into the narrative that, well, Chimaev's going to try and like save himself. It's like he can't save himself for 3 rounds, let alone 5 rounds. What are you talking about? And by the way, that's not what this guy does. That's not what's gotten him here. He's 14-0 for a reason. It's an early onslaught, and if he doesn't get it, then he just survives. He maybe saves a little bit in the second round so he can steal the third like he did, against Usman. But I just think it's going to be he said he wants to win the belt and retire. And what better way to do it than to fly across the ring, take DDP down, and make it super, super quick? It's this guy's bread and butter. He knows who he is. And I think that he is just going to go for broke in rounds 1 and 2, so that it begs the question, can DDP survive? Here's where you got to draw a line in the sand, and I will just go with no. I don't think DDP is going to sustain this early onslaught. I think Chimaev is going to get his hands around DDP, get him down, and somehow lock in the submission. Am I going to have my live lines open, ready to bet DDP the second that Chimaev starts to slow down? Absolutely, but I feel like the books are going to be all over that one. You could talk me into anything in this one. I'm not betting this fight. The only thing I'll bet is I'll have this fight not to go the distance or under 3.5, whatever line gives me the best under, because I don't see any way this makes it to the judges. So under is how I will parlay it, but if you're making me pick, I will go with Chimaev and under, even though I know damn well the second he gets tired in the second, then it's DDP all day long.
Well, I'm going to try not to go too long on this, although I do have a lot of thoughts. But I feel like I've kind of been over this fight so many times. Last week I was on UFC Fight Pass on the Gambler's Perspective, and they, Yanni and Nick asked me for like an early pick, and I went with the champ here, and the line's even, gotten a little bit more blown out on Chimaev. So yeah, I think there's value on the champ here. I will say though, I don't think Chimaev's cardio is bad as a lot of people are saying. Like, it's not like he's just cooked in rounds 2 and 3. Is he a different fighter after round 1? Undoubtedly. There is clear evidence that he is not the same fighter after a round. So I don't know. People have been saying that that's like after the COVID stuff, it kind of messed them up. Would be a little worrisome if you're laying big chalk on Chimaev. That's just my opinion. And if he doesn't finish them in round 1, but the Gilbert Burns in round 1, he didn't really get him down and really control him. And honestly, I thought Gilbert was on his way to winning that round, but then he got dropped at the end, and that definitely sealed it for Chimaev. In the second round, he got doubled up in strikes. In the third round, I thought was razor close. The Usman fight, goes out and's on Usman's back, smothers him the whole first round, gets a 10-8. And then the next 2 rounds, Usman won 1 and Chimaev won 1, I believe. I don't remember what the judges' scorecards, but basically 50-50 the last 2 rounds with Burns and the last 2 rounds with Usman is kind of my point, because, he didn't really grapple or really have the grappling success like he's had in round 1s against lesser people or, less physical people. one thing I will say, and I haven't heard like literally anyone talk about this or seen anyone talk about this, I haven't seen it on Twitter or anything like that, is Chimaev's striking defense is fucking tragic. Like, it is absolutely tragic. He does not move his head. Like, watch, especially that Gilbert Burns fight. I mean, Gilbert Burns is throwing just an overhand, like no technique, no nothing, not trying to set it up, not mixing it in, nothing, just going overhand, like a windmill, overhand, overhand, overhand. And they are landing, and Chimaev is blocking them with the space and going like, come on. Like, I'm sorry, if this gets into a haymaker contest, I will take DDP 10 times out of 10 if this gets like into an ugly dog fight like that. I'm sorry, DDP is in that fight so many times. He's been there a million trillion times. He could do that, no problem. He has the proven gas for 5. And honestly, like, if we get there, Chimaev, we haven't seen him in rounds 4 and 5. And you can make the case that if the Burns and Usman fights were 5 rounds, who knows if he would have won those fights? Who knows if he wouldn't have fallen off a cliff, or if he would have been able to at least maintain and maybe his volume and his output, and he's not really wrestling too much, but he's, doing enough to kind of win or keep himself out of harm's way. But man, the biggest thing that I've come away with rewatching the last couple of Chimaev fights was just he just does not cover his face. He does not move his head, and he is way too happy to get in a slugfest. And I'm sorry, if he gets into a slugfest with DDP, he's going to get knocked out. He's going to get his light shut out, like point blank. If he is taking the shots that he took from Gilbert Burns, especially the one that snapped his head back, he kind of got knocked down. He got like grazed on top of the head and took a knee. I don't know if you want to call it a flash knockdown or whatever. I mean, the UFC knockdown stats are so weird these days. I don't really know how they consider it a knockdown and how they don't. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. But if this gets into, where that DDP swamp starts to form, he's winning around, he's losing around, it's kind of 50-50, the fight's in the balance, man, you got to feel good about DDP at plus 200 if we start getting later on. I'm not saying Chimaev can, or like I said, I don't think he's cardio is like an F. Like, I feel like a lot of people think it's probably, closer to like a C. It's maybe a little worse than average or about average. But I mean, there's very clear, obvious paths for both guys. I could go on and about this fight forever, but to me, at this price, you have to go with the champ. I mean, we've just seen him do it, and it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, and it's weird, and he's sloppy, and yada yada yada. And how's he doing this? But I mean, put it this way: if you told me I couldn't watch the fight Saturday night, and you're like, "Oh, it was a classic, and it got deep into the fight, and the one guy dug deep or whatever," and it's like, I'm gonna assume that DDP won the fight. It's just, I've just seen him pull these fires, or pull these fights out of the fire time and time and time again. And we really haven't seen Chimaev with a guy that is this dangerous. Like, we just haven't. Like, who has he fought that's dangerous or has any kind of firepower coming back? Like, literally no one. Literally no one. So I think if Chimaev doesn't get him out of there early, we have a real fight on our hands. I'm not saying he's going to fall apart. I'm not saying, he's definitely going to lose. I'm saying
he's going to fall apart.
Well,
I am. You're right. His striking defense is bad, especially when he's tired.
Horrible.
So,
it's worse than I remembered, and I thought it was bad to begin with. It was way worse than I remembered. It's going to be a fun one. I'm really looking forward to it. I think everyone's looking forward to it. It's, in my opinion, no doubt, fight of the year. But yeah, I like the champ. I think he gets it done. I think he knocks him out maybe round 3, round 4. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But it wouldn't be all that surprising if he wins a decision. But I'm going with the champ at these odds. I think you kind of have to, but we'll see what happens. So yeah. To pull something from your show, who do you think is the one that sells the People's Parlay this week? Who's a favorite that people are going to like and drops the ball?
Oh, I said it's going to be the over in the Godinez Andrade fight. Everyone just pencils in a Loopy by decision. There's potential finishes there. If Andrade is not feeling it and Loopy somehow gets on her back, that's going to be a quick submission. Andrade could land a big shot on Loopy. Loopy's been in some firefights. She's been in some big exchanges, and Andrade can hit. So I think everyone's going to put Loopy by decision or fight to goes the distance in their parlays, and I'm not going to be surprised at all if there's a finish and it wrecks everyone's parlay. See, it's got to be one that everyone. It's got to be the one that everyone puts in the parlay.
I'm gonna go Chimaev. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go Chimaev because I'm trying to think like one that everyone's gonna bet Chimaev, and the price is reflective of that. And it's like, oh, you don't even need to pick his method. I mean, I don't even think the submission line is playable anymore. Like everything on Chimaev is just so out of whack in my opinion. So. Yep. I'm going to go with Chimaev. I mean, I sat on this very show, what was it, 3-4 summers ago, and said right here, as you and Dan laughed at me when I said DDP plus 300 against Robert Whitaker. So I would be.
Oh, I didn't see it coming. But boy, is Whitaker falling off a cliff. Holy cow.
That was kind of that was kind of it for him. But, I would be ashamed of myself if I did not go to bat for Mr. Duplessis here at plus 200 to go for a three-peat of title defenses. I would not be a man of my word, and I would consider myself a coward if I did not go to bat for my man here. When it seems like it's pretty much, everyone's saying Chimaev gets it done early and or just Chimaev steamrolls them for, wins 4 rounds, wins all 5 rounds, or he just runs them right over and it's over. I don't really see a lot of people backing Dricus or picking Dricus or anything like that. It just seems like a formality. Like, why even let's not even have the fight, Andy. We know who won. Let's just give the belt to Chimaev, right? He's just going to run him right over. It's just
absolutely.
I've just seen way too much from Duplessis that I know this guy is not going to quit on himself. He's not going to give up. And he's going to get better as the fight goes on. Like, we've just seen it. Like, he could fight through adversity. He could fight through hard times. He could fight in 50-50 fights. He could go 5 rounds. That's the guy I want my money on at 2-1, who's been in this situation. Now, this is what? 4th time?
Yeah.
4th or 5th, whatever it is, including his first fight with Strickland. So, I mean, Chimaev's. I saw a really good thing. I don't know if I think Dricus might have said it in one of his interviews or someone else said it, but it's kind of crazy because Chimaev had those 2 fights in 10 days during COVID on Fight Island, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this guy's gonna be a champ!" And no time. And here comes this big, goofy, awkward guy out of nowhere. Everyone's like, oh, my God, this guy stinks. And now, he'll be going for his 3rd or his 4th title defense, whatever it is. And Chimaev finally made it. They're the same exact age. DDP has 25 fights to Chimaev's 14. What if DDP's the guy all along that we thought Chimaev was? So it's going to be an interesting fight, but I got the champ at 2-1 dog odds. I like it. So, Andy, thank you for coming on this lovely Thursday evening and joining me to help break down 319. Main card's absolutely fireworks. There's some good, decent undercard fights that I think could be fun. One more time for the people that joined in late. Got a nice bottle here from Andy's brand new skincare company, A1C Skincare. It is a hydrating restoration bomb. Andy, one more time, tell the people where to find you, a little bit about your product and the launch soon to follow.
Yeah, we're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're just finishing up the Amazon listing. I've been working on this for 2 years. I suffer from diabetes. I have very dry skin. So for a couple years, I've worked on developing and designing a product for people with diabetes. Obviously, it can work on skin that isn't people with diabetes, but that's the focus of our company. I cannot wait to launch. You were nice enough to say, let me try some of it. So I'm anxious to get your feedback from it. Could not be more
Absolutely.
proud of it. There's only 6 ingredients. There's no chemicals. I've had to do a deep dive into what is in skincare products, and Rudy, it's terrifying. Some of the things that
I
are in
could
our
imagine.
skincare, it's really, really scary. So, it's made in the U.S. 6 ingredients, all natural,
Hell
very,
yeah.
very high end ingredients, and yeah, I'm very proud of it. Can't wait to launch it. So, yeah, it's A1C Skin Products on Instagram and TikTok, and we'll be doing a big launch, discounts, free giveaways, all kinds of stuff. So if you want to support me, that'd be great. If you or you know somebody that does have diabetes, this product will help your skin. I guarantee it.
For the record, for everyone listening and is like interested in this stuff, I don't have diabetes. And, when Andy told me about it, he's like, I'm going to send you a little jar here of it or whatever. So you don't need to have diabetes to try this
Correct.
out or whatever. Just want to make that clear. I don't have any skin condition or diabetes or anything like that. But, I haven't tried it yet. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I just got it in the mail today. Have not had the good fortune of trying it yet. But as soon as I do, I will post my own honest review for you guys after I try a little bit. But I believe in this man beneath me here on the screen and everything that he is behind. So yeah, I would definitely encourage you guys to go check it out. A1C Skincare. You can follow Andy um, at Bump Sports on the Bird app and give him some support on his new venture in skincare. So with that, guys, Rudy and Andy, UFC 319, main event of the year. Good luck with all your bets. We hope you guys enjoyed and cash some tickets. Take care, guys. We'll catch you next time.